Welcome back to Paraguay. How much does it actually cost to live here? Line by line, category by category, what can you actually expect as an expat who is moving to Asuncion, Paraguay? What I'm going to do for you guys is exactly that. I'm going to show you what I spent on every single category for an entire month. And what's going to make this video a little bit more special is it's not just a matter of finding out what I spent, but what I did in order to bring my expenses down. So I recently did a cost of living video where I broke down my expenses for December of last year. And I'm going to go ahead and put those categories up here now. So here you can see all of my expenses for all the different categories. And you total all these up, you get to around $2,400. I hope you still have some reason to go back and watch that video if you haven't already. But I did a detailed breakdown of all these different categories so you can kind of see where my head was at then compared to now and get an idea as to different ways that you can optimize your expenses when you get here. So I'm going to go back through these exact same categories and show you what I'm spending now. And keep in mind, the US dollar has gotten even weaker since I made that video. When I made that video, I think it was around 6,600. Now it's around 6,300 if I'm not mistaken. Not a massive difference, but you can feel it a little bit. So funny enough, I posted that video and a lot of people were like, man, how are you spending that much? 2,400 bucks? Like, I thought you could live in Paraguay for under $1,000. Good luck. You can. You definitely can. 100% can. If you're living in a more economical area and you're humble and you're eating cooked meals only and you're not Ubering around much and you're not going out much and you're just kind of hanging out and do your thing, you can. Don't get me wrong. But I want to be super transparent and super realistic with you guys. And ultimately, the goal here is for you to take everything that I say as I describe my expenses in these different categories and kind of compare them to the lifestyle that you want to live, right? So if I spend X amount on food, for example, you might be somebody who eats less. You might be somebody who eats way more. You might be somebody who wants to go out and party more. You might be somebody who wants to maybe own a car or rent a car instead of Ubering around, right? That sort of thing. So let's go ahead and get started from the top. I won't waste too much of you guys' time with this intro. Oh, by the way, before we do get started, I've officially started doing consultation calls. So click the link down below, thegenzexpat.com, to book a call. You won't regret it. I will help you out with pretty much anything and everything and will be a very, very good resource for you. So take a look at that page if you want to learn more about them and you can book them right there. So let's get started. Rent. Rent was $418. Now it is $405. Why? Well, I was using a crypto exchange that was charging me $13 more per transaction whenever I would purchase that crypto. That's the only difference. It's still $400 rent is what I pay for a 1-bed, 1-bath apartment. I paid in crypto, but now I get that crypto at a better rate. Or I pay less on the purchase. I was honestly stupid for paying $418 every single time before. Now I only pay $405. So there you go. Phone hasn't changed. $15 a month. However, I did change plans. So I was with Claro, where I was doing like a prepaid plan where I would have to go to the pharmacy in order to fill up like my saldo, my balance, and then I would use that to purchase data. Now I have a Tigo plan where I can be on a regular contract. So these $15 are just on a regular month-to-month contract. Excuse me. So I'm not having to fill it up as much. So it's a lot more convenient. So same price, but much more convenience and similar, if not slightly better coverage. Although Claro and Tigo are both very good for coverage. Next, power, 70 instead of 60. Now keep in mind, I do all of these purchases for the most part in Guaraníes, except for my rent. So I'm converting. I'm using the conversion as of today. So $70 for my power. The reason being, I just used some more power, to be honest. The rate was the same. I looked at the bill. I just used more. So $70, and that's really all it is. It's just running the 2 AC units for my apartment, as well as the laundry machine and the kitchen appliances, which I'll get to later in terms of how I use those. So Wi-Fi, 23 versus 22. The difference really lies in the exchange rate. Honestly, it might be 24. I'll go with 23. Same price, same price. But yeah, 23 bucks a month is what I pay for my Wi-Fi, and that's fixed. That doesn't change. And it's really good. You know, it's like 400 megabits per second. Personal is the name of the company. It never goes out on me unless I forget to pay it, which I have done once. And it's been super solid. So here we go. Food. How did we adjust here? This was honestly the biggest adjustment. So a couple things happened. One, I thought to myself, okay, what can I do to get my expenses lower? What is the area that's gobbling up the biggest chunk here? And it's food, right? It's eating out. So I figured, where can I reasonably get these expenses down without sacrificing a lot in terms of my actual quality of life? And ultimately what it came down to were meals that I was eating out by myself. I still go get dinners with friends. I'm, equally price conscious as I was before. And by that, I mean, I might try to avoid the most expensive item on the menu every time, but I'm pretty liberal. If I'm in the mood for a steak, I'll get a steak. If we want sushi, we'll get some sushi. And also keep in mind, this number includes my girlfriend, which I was seeing in December, and I'm still with her now. So this includes, I'm about to go through grocery and night out and eating out, that includes dinners with her. So for some of those meals, they're going to be for two. So keep that in mind for you. If you don't plan to date, then your expenses might be a little bit lower just off of that. But my problem was, I was like in the middle of the day, let's just say, I have a break from work at 2 p.m. I would just go to a restaurant nearby and just pick up some takeout. Or honestly, I think the biggest culprit was working from coffee shops instead of working at home. Here's the thing when you work at coffee shops. One, the honest truth is, assuming you have a decent home office, you're not going to be as productive at the coffee shop. Now, I love it. Don't get me wrong. Just like being out of the house and being in a different environment and just the chatter of the people in the background kind of keeps you sane. And you can kind of get up and walk around a lot. Honestly, what I would do is go to Paseo La Galeria often, and I would go to a coffee shop out there, and I would just walk. Like I would do laps around the mall in between calls. But all in all, it wasn't as productive. And this is the setup I would bring: this laptop with the portable monitor. Or at home, I have like a nice proper monitor with a desk and everything that you guys have seen me do videos on. So I was going out there, and then you get a coffee, right? A coffee might be $2, $3. Yeah, usually around 15 to 25,000 warranties, which is about $2.20 to, what is that, $4-ish. These are at nice coffee shops with good Wi-Fi in nice parts of town. So keep in mind that's what you can expect to pay for a coffee. I know a lot of people kind of use that as a metric for how expensive things are. If you go to like a Starbucks is going to be slightly more, looking at around $5 for a coffee sometimes. Obviously, depending on what kind. So it's like, okay, you get the coffee because you don't just want to sit down and mooch, right? And not do anything. So I would get the coffee, and then I would get an agua con gas with it, which at these, they usually charge 10,000, which is about $1.40 for just a bottle of water, which, I mean, that's kind of a scam. Like you get that same bottle at a grocery store, it's like 3,000, right? It's like 40 cents. So they're definitely marking you up on the bottle of water. So I would get a coffee and a bottle of water, and then boom, I'd be there for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. And okay, I've got some time now. I'm hungry. Let me go to the food court, right? And drop $12, $10, $15, depending on what I get. Usually between, at the minimum, like $8 to most like $15, $16 for like, say, there's these little buffet restaurants where you get like a piece of meat, like a little steak with some pasta or some rice. And then you put on like some veggies, and it's good. It's good food. Or I might go to, honestly, every once in a while I'll splurge on a double quarter pounder at McDonald's. That looks like $8 for the combo. Or maybe I'll get like a chicken sandwich at the coffee shop itself, right? So boom, it's like I went and Ubers back and forth too. So it's like, okay, just by me working at a coffee shop, like inevitably I ate out. I had coffee and water. I Ubered there and back, and I wasn't as productive. And all in all, I spent like $20 just to make that happen, as opposed to just staying at home, working from home, eating my home cooked, healthy, weighed out, macro exact meals instead. So I've cut down on that substantially, and that's where you're going to see some of the change here. Now, it's not a massive change, but grocery at 255, eating out at 340. Now you might ask, why did the grocery go down if you're eating at home more? One, I am just more, I have my system dialed now, right? I know which cuts of meat to buy. There is a specific brand of grass-finished ground beef that I buy really often, which is a lot cheaper than buying steak every time. I know which avocados to buy now when they're cheaper. My ingredients are dialed. Whereas before I was just more sporadic with what I would buy, and I would be more wasteful. Half the time, dude, I would go and I would get the groceries, fill up the cart, thinking, okay, like I'm going to lock in this week and eat at home. And then I'd still go to the coffee shop, and then half the food goes bad. That wouldn't happen crazy often, but I would just be more wasteful, right? And also, including this grocery total, that includes like random snacks and stuff as well. That's just how it categorized it when I went through my bank statements. And it makes sense. So this includes like random BS biggie snacks. This includes like gas station snacks, stuff like that. So I'm not buying as many of those either. I'm more strict about this. And another incentive that I had to change this was I gained some weight. Yeah, I gained like 10 pounds over the course of the past like 3-4 months. And yeah, just my body fat percentage is higher than I want it to be. So I was like, okay, I gotta dial in. I built a fitness bot, like a Telegram bot. I built it on Claude, where I track all of my meals, and it tells me to weigh myself, and it bothers me when I don't track my macros. So that helps too. So now I'm eating in a lot more. And bro, number one investment you have to make if you want to eat healthy, an air fryer. I mean, come on. The best thing I ever bought was an air fryer. I cook the ground beef in the air fryer, and it comes out delicious. I've even started cooking eggs in the air fryer. I know that sounds insane, but it works. I'll have my white rice, my whole grain pasta, ground beef, eggs. Sometimes I'll get some steak, my avocado, banana, almond, honey, butter. That's pretty much it. Ketchup, mayo, water. That's my diet. And the air fryer, so clutch, because I'm working, I throw in the air fryer, I get back to work, it goes beep, I go out, I grab it, I put it on the plate, I microwave the rice that I had already made for the week, and I'm set. It's honestly a good alternative to meal prepping or to a meal prep service, just because of how convenient it is. Just get an air fryer, make your meat in the air fryer, and your protein is going to be dialed. So yeah, that's the change in grocery and eating out. And yeah, whatever you guys can pull from that, I recommend. Oh, another thing. Speaking of tereré right here, grab yourself some if you don't have one in your hand already. Tereré is the superior form of caffeination on earth. I love tereré, man. I've fallen in love with tereré. I've become addicted. I quite literally think I'm starting. I've never had a caffeine addiction. I know some people, like with coffee, they'll develop caffeine addictions where like they don't feel right without it. I honestly think I'm starting to get to that point with it today, but that might just be me. I can't, convincingly tell you that just yet. But instead of going out and buying coffee, which sometimes I would do, I would walk to the near little coffee shop stand thing by my house just to get a coffee. I've got this bad boy. I fill it up with remedio, yuyos, which are like herbs that you put in the water in order to give a different flavor profile and different health benefits to the water itself. And then I've been experimenting with different yerba. So yerba is what goes in it. I'll probably do a whole day-to-day breakdown video. I should, on like the health benefits of it, the way to do it, where to find it. Cause bro, this shit is great. Yeah, I've been experimenting with different yerbas, and it just sits here on my desk. Now, keep in mind, this isn't my desk. I'm not at home. I'm at my friend's house. Shout out to the home studio. We do some incredible parties here. We're about to do one tonight, which is why I'm here now. If you want to come, they're house parties. They're invite only for the most part, but I'll be happy to invite you. Go down in the link below, book a call, or hit me up on Instagram. So it sits on my desk, and it's the type of thing you just, you fill it up and you're just there, you're working. and you're sipping on it as your day goes by, and you've got some healthy ass stuff in here. It keeps you hydrated, right? Before you know it, by the time you finish your workday, you're finishing a whole thing of these. I think these are like a gallon, maybe a little bit less. So you're getting your water for the day, and it's way, way, way cheaper than buying coffees. And it's a more steady caffeine instead of like a boom and a crash like you get with regular coffee. So that's another thing that I've done day to day instead of coffee. Next, fitness. So you'll see fitness at 130. Now my fitness is 30. Reason being, I no longer have a personal trainer. I switched gym memberships at the same price though, $30 a month, but I'm doing the training myself. I might go back to having a personal trainer maybe later on into the year. I tend to go through cycles with that. I'll have one, then I don't, then I have one, then I don't. I mean, I know how to train myself. I am a certified personal trainer. Like I know what I'm doing, but it's just a matter of having somebody with you to like push you to the limit, which is what this guy was. Young guy, great guy, didn't necessarily show me anything I didn't know already, but he just worked out with me and like got me right. But I don't have him right now, so it's just the gym membership at $30 per month. Next, entertainment. So we go from 180 down to 45. Honestly, I think this is in part just kind of by circumstance. I didn't necessarily actively reject opportunities to go and entertain, but I think last time we did the video was in December, and it was kind of more holiday season. Like people had more free time. Now we're a little bit more locked in. Didn't go to as many parties, but I still went to a couple good ones. By parties, I mean like electronic parties. Electronic music is generally what I go to, where you have to pay for an entry, which is what I consider here for entertainment. I still don't really drink alcohol, so I can't really include that, minus maybe 1 or 2 drinks. So yeah, entertainment went down, but I can't, say that, oh, I'm having less fun per se. It just kind of worked out that way. So for you guys watching, that's, one of those items that's kind of going to vary based off of the season, based off of your friends. And I'm still going to just as many events, like networking events, but I'm not paying for entry because either I do them, the Asuncion Times does them. I mean, we don't charge people for entry anyways, or they're just not expensive. So that went down. Transportation, right around the same, 220. This includes Uber and Bolt. So I think I was using Uber and Bolt a little bit less, but honestly, I think the prices have increased a tiny bit combined with the weaker dollar. I probably should be closer to around 190 or 200, but I think that difference made up for the other 20. But yeah, similar, I'm not stingy with Ubers. Whenever I need to go, I call it, but generally you're not paying more than $3 or $4 max, maybe 5, 10 if you're going far. Sometimes as low as like 2. You're really not going to get under 2. It's generally between like 2 and 5 is what you're going to see for most Ubers around the city. So pretty much the same budget there. I'm not consciously choosing to walk in order to save more money yet. I hope to not need to. Next, this is another big one. Clothes and laundry. 2 things happened here. One, I just bought less clothes. When I first got here, I was in a period of accumulating my wardrobe a little bit more. And now I'm pretty much getting to a point where I pretty much have what I need. Of course, probably every year or so from this point on, I'll refresh some things, buy new pairs of jeans, buy new shirts, new gym shorts, that sort of thing. But I'm at a good point now for at least these next few months where I've got pretty much what I need. And then I'll buy some random thing at Mercado Cuatro every once in a while. But I think the little bit of clothes that I did buy, I bought mostly at Mercado Cuatro, as opposed to shopping malls and stores like Unicentro, which I mentioned in my last video, which are more expensive. Generally, at the shopping malls here, you're going to see clothes that's priced relatively similarly to the United States. Significantly cheaper than Argentina. I would say cheaper than Brazil. I recently went to Brazil and the malls there felt a bit more expensive. High-end malls. And compared to Europe, I don't know. I've never shopped there. So bought less clothes. And also a big difference here is I started doing my own laundry. Yeah. I invested in a tendedero, a drying rack. I bought it off of Facebook Marketplace for like $25. A big, nice, like a big one that fits a lot of clothes. Nice, high quality. The guy brought it to my door. Bro. Air fryer, tendedero, termo, the three best investments you can make when you get to Paraguay to save money. Your air fryer for your meats, your tendedero for your clothes, and your termo to stop drinking Starbucks coffee every day. So I've always had, I'm in the same apartment, I've always had a washing machine in my apartment, but I just wasn't really using it because I would go to the laundromat and just have them do it, and they would charge me like 15, 20 bucks every time. And I was doing that like once a week. So that's like, boom, like 80 bucks right there. Plus throw in like washing my comforters with them, which I probably will still do, but not monthly. Washing just random stuff. And it got expensive. But now, I just buy detergent. I guess I buy some more of that, but I mean, that cost is minimal. And I wash my own clothes and I dry my own clothes. Pro tip, dry your clothes on hot, sunny days and do it in the morning. Sometimes I'll find myself doing it at like 3 or 4 p.m. on a humid day. The clothes is going to come out smelling bad because it's like kind of humid and it retains like that musk, and you don't want that. So you got to know the science of using the tendedero, but it's a good investment. Haircuts, 42, same thing. Got the same amount of haircuts from the same barber at the same price. If you want a good barber recommendation, link in description. I will happily get you put on. Yeah, love my barber. Miscellaneous, 200 instead of 250. Now, what does miscellaneous include? Essentially for me, it's cash transactions that I wasn't able to track. And I think this is about right. So where am I going with this? So yeah, just random little knickknacks. Like I would probably include the air fryer I bought in this one, which I bought for like 50 bucks. Random stuff I bought at Mercado Cuatro. Times where my friends like bought me food and I paid them back in cash. And I think it's safe to say, I don't have a super exact ledger for this, but I have a pretty good feel that it's around $200, about 50 bucks less than last time. In large part due to just being out and about at coffee shops and stuff like that, a little bit less. So I'm not, spending as much cash. But who knows? That could be high. But I think it's smart for you guys to include a healthy miscellaneous budget for things that you're just not going to be able to track, but ultimately you do spend money on, just to be conservative. So you add all of these expenses, and I'm going to do it again here for you guys on the video, just like I did last time. I already did it, but I just want to make sure I'm accurate. 405 for rent, 15 plus 70 plus 23 plus 255 plus 340 plus 30 plus 45 plus 220 plus 40. Sorry if I'm boring you, but I hope you have a decent attention span, unlike me. 1685. Not bad. Call it 1700. So we went from 2400 to 1700. Yeah, roughly $700 less. Not bad. Where were those changes? Again, food, clothes, less entertainment, no personal trainer. And I think this could be a more realistic budget for some of you guys who are coming and living relatively modestly. Now, you might come and live right next to Shopping Del Sol and have a rent at $1,000. I have friends who rent for 1,000 US, especially if you want like a 2-bed, a nice 2-bed, right by the malls or like in Villa Mora, might be as high as $1,200. Because you want an office and a living room and a bedroom. So that could be a big variable there. My rent is pretty good. But outside of that, I think a lot of you guys, just might be a bit more modest than I was when I made my last video. Might not eat out quite as much. So take it for what you will. Watch the last video where I went into how I got to all those totals. I went into pretty thorough detail. Yeah, I recommend you use these 2 videos as like anchor points, right? Comparisons between one another, and see how you can start to build out your game plan if you want to come down here and be conservative, round up a little bit, and get a solid idea for how much you're going to need to live here every month. And with that, you'll feel a lot better about the move if it's not as much of a mystery to you. And that's what I hope this video was able to accomplish. So let me know if you have any other ideas down below in the comments for anything that you want to see, any input. What do you think? What do you think of my expenses? Was it too high, too low? Are you here already? How much do you spend every month? Throw it down in the comments just so people can learn from you as well. Check out the link down below if you want to hop on a consultation. And that is it. I will see you guys back here in Asuncion, Paraguay for the next one. Ciao, ciao.